What is up, you beautiful people? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda, fresh off the back of Liverpool's opening game of the new Premier League campaign. I've seen the comments, I love reading them before I go live, and don't worry, Phil, I can see Phil's comment saying don't let today fool you. I'm not for fooling, my man, I'm not for fooling. I'm happy with the result, of course I am. You can't not be happy with an opening day win, but of course we do still have work we'd like to see done in this transfer window, and we're going to discuss that tonight. So yeah, it's probably going to be a quieter stream. I don't think we've got notifications coming out for this one because it's our fourth bit of content for the day. But again, thank you guys for coming in and sharing some of your Saturday evening with me. It was lovely to see the boys back on the pitch today and to actually, get to talk about football with what was in front of us rather than hypothetical stuff. So well done to Arna and the boys. We're going to talk about the second half performance, the changes that were made at half time. Of course, we're going to look to the transfer window as well. Ask what on earth is happening with Joe Gomez. How realistic is it that he leaves in this summer transfer window? A little bit on Georgi Marmadashvili, who currently is playing for Valencia against Barcelona right now. So feel free to keep me up to date with what's going on in that game if you're watching it. Harry Klein, first super chat of the night, my man. How are you? How was Dom today? Didn't watch the game. He was good. He was. The first half, Harry, the midfield, they struggled to get to grips. And as Arne Slot said, we were losing a lot of the battles around the pitch. But in the second half, Gravenberch, McAllister and Soboslai really did get the grips with the game. And the scoreline in the end wasn't flattering. It was a fair reflection of what we've seen, but still work to do. You can never but be happy for an opening day win, of course, but we still have a little bit of work to do in the market anyway. Mark, thank you, buddy, for gifting an Anfield Agenda membership. Appreciate you. Again, just a reminder before we get stuck into it that those tickets are now live for those of you who are looking to come along to the Anfield Agenda live show. We gifted our first two tickets earlier on to the gentleman Ricky, who was saying that he's getting married. So we said, do you know what? Have an early wedding present from us. So we sent them a couple of tickets. And again, I can't wait to meet up with you all over there. Not August, we've already done August, Craig. November the 15th. So yes, Alex. So I've been spending a lot of time today in between our game, the post-match reaction stuff, just reading up, reading how different fans are feeling, looking at different viewpoints. It is really crazy. There doesn't seem to be much in the middle at the minute. It's either people are, we defo need transfers, we have to get it done, or we'll be grand, sure, we've a big squad. I'm very much in the we defo need transfers category, by the way, just to clear that up. But it is, it's weird seeing it. Like, we all knew that today was an important day, right? Arne Slot, first win as Liverpool manager competitively. Mohamed Salah, 9 goals on 9 opening days. Another record for the great man. 350 appearances up for the Reds as well in the Prem. I think the Prem, but 350 appearances nonetheless. And just another good display. I thought Mo was really, really good today. Showed his class in the second half. Good composure for the setup of Jota as well, who atoned for his missed opportunity moments before. How about INQUIRIES looks good today? Do you know what, Irish Andy? I didn't get a chance to see the Arsenal-Wolves game. Didn't see any of it, to be honest with you, mate. I was still working after our own stuff, so just caught the results. I did watch the West Ham Aston Villa game, which was quite cool. It was a good game. I thought Villa just about deserved their victory. West Ham came into it in the second half. Lopetegui looked very annoyed. But to look at the transfer window, I guess let's start talking about Joe Gomez here. Because Joe Gomez was, as I'm sure you're all aware, not in Liverpool's travelling party for today's game. Now, again, fans seem to be a little bit divided on whether this is just the club giving him an opportunity to mull over his future. Apparently there was I'm going to read some of the comments actually and say what they say. Newcastle United, Aston Villa, Fulham, Chelsea and clubs abroad have all shown an interest in Joe Gomez, according to Fabrizio Romano. Bayern Munich could also be alerted. Another one from Paul Joyce said, Gomez's omission is the result of what have been described as grown-up discussions between the player and Liverpool, who are not forcing the 27-year-old out. So we said this for the last few weeks. To be fair to Joe, I can't come on here and be a hypocrite. I'd love Joe to stay. Of course I would. Joe Gomez's versatility and experience is invaluable. But like I said about Anthony Gordon, Joe knows that the club were willing to sell him earlier on in the window. And if he wants to go in search of first team football, and Arne Slot has told him maybe that his chances at centre-back could be limited, then, maybe something can be found that works for everybody. But one thing I think most of us here will agree on is we can't be letting Joe go without a replacement lined up. Whether that's INACIO or somebody else, it's a non-starter for me, the idea of Joe Gomez going without us bringing in a replacement. That would be madness. Jamie, thank you for your super chat, my friend. Said, evening, Craig. Lovely result today. Yeah, it was great. Great. I was a little bit nervous, 12:30, away from home, newly promoted team, but we got the job done. Clean sheet. Mohamed Salah scored, Diogo Jota scored, Lucho should have scored. So again, very good at the business end of the pitch. Defensively, I thought it was really interesting to hear Arne Slot. Do you know what? Can I just say one thing? First impressions of the new gaffer in a competitive game. I love the ruthlessness of taking Kwanzaa off at half time. Now, Kwanzaa is a brilliant centre-back and has a great future ahead of him. But it was ruthless and I loved it. He wasn't winning his aerial duels or his battles. He only won 50% of his first half duels. That wasn't good enough for Slot because he thought that was giving Ipswich a bit of momentum. So he brought on Ibu. Ibu then ended up with a 75% duel success rate. And I just thought it was a good indication that he's just going to call things as he sees them. No favouritisms, no anything. Just perform or you're going to be benched. I like that. That's old school thinking in my mind. I also think the substitutions and the timing of those substitutions were genius. 70 minutes for players like Trent and Robbo who didn't have full pre-seasons. Then we got to give Conor Bradley, it cost us a run out. It's just win-win. Good squad management, even early in the season. Happy days. How have I been? I'm good. As you can hear, my voice is a little bit raspy. It's been an incredibly busy week, or incredibly busy 10 days since we've come back from Liverpool, but very enjoyable. It's great to see the Reds back in action today and getting off to a winning start. So, look, I'm at a loss to figure out this arrogance that some people seem to have about the owners being unquestionably good. I don't see it. How anybody can defend our business in this summer transfer window, including the lack of contract extensions, honestly, I find incomprehensible. I can't figure it out. Yeah, I'm baffled. It is surely one of the most frustrating, disappointing transfer windows so far of the owner's tenure at the club. Stevie Boy said, thoughts on Núñez and Elliott not getting game time. So, in all honesty, the Núñez one didn't surprise me at all because he has had a very limited pre-season. Came back late from the Copa America. Played unimpressively, really, against Las Palmas in a game that wasn't great, to be honest, on all fronts. Elliott, yes, would have liked to see Elliott get some minutes, but it is what it is, It's up to these guys to prove themselves to the manager. And the manager is the one who makes the team selection. So we keep winning. Arne Slot can keep picking whatever team he wants and making whatever changes he wants. It's all about results. And today was about getting the first win under the belt. Job done. But I do agree with everyone in the chat saying, no false sense of securities. The squad still needs work done to it. It is just a good day though. You got to enjoy these days when they come along. First game of the season, new Liverpool manager, gets off to winning ways, and it was lovely to see those tactical adjustments as well. In a half time, made the substitution for the centre back, then we figured it out and we looked like we were far superior. I don't know if it was a mixture of a tactical tweak, the introduction of Kanade, and of course maybe some fatigue from the Ipswich players as well. But as the game went on, we looked more and more likely to continue to score. And I thought it was brilliant. Could have been 3 or 4 in the end. But credit to Ipswich, you got to say well done to them. Back up in the Premier League. Looking forward to seeing how they get on this season. Nothing against the club whatsoever, but just happy to see our boys get the win. And Noah, of course, you can get a hi, my man. How are we? Welcome in. Right, so on Joe Gomez, what are we thinking? Like, let's ask a poll question. Let's start with a poll question. 1 second. You know we love a poll here on Anfield Agenda. So I'm just going to ask a really simple question. Do you think that Joe leaves this month? I don't by any stretch of the imagination, by the way, think it's a certainty that he does leave. You know, he wasn't in the squad today. That could have been just to give him a little bit of time and space to make his decision. You know, we got to be respectful about this because Joe has been a great servant to the football club, and I won't say anything but positive things about him. As I've said, it is an interesting one, but we can't keep selling without bringing in. If we do sell Joe Gomez, it has to be because we have somebody lined up, and that can't be even up for debate, surely. Nick, how are you, my man? Let me just grab your comment up on screen. Nick said, thought we looked immense second half. Bench looked like slim pickings in midfield. No offence to the lads. Could use a few more polished senior pros to bolster the squad. A few too many unknown commodities to rely on. Yeah, look, there's a lot of leaps of faith that would have to be taken. And to give credit to Ryan Gravenberch today, I think as that game went on, his influence grew in the game. I loved his vision for some of the balls in the first half, although we were restricted in what we managed to achieve in the first half. There was a couple of nice balls over the top that Gravenberch got his head up and almost picked Salah out. I thought in the second half, again, he looked really good. But everybody knows we're on the lookout for that number 6. Gravenberch can do a job. Of course he can. He's a fine player. But is he going to be the answer? Again, I would say it might be pitched to us that he would be, but that is also the cheap option. It's always the cheap option. Van den Berg, again, also wasn't in the squad today, so you got to say what's going on with his future. Yeah, interesting times ahead. As we sit here, my friends, it is pretty much now coming in towards Sunday, the 18th of August, so 12 days left in the window. Let me just get your comment up, Regan. 1 second, my friend. And thank you for your super chat. Appreciate it. Even from a rival fan, it's always lovely to see you guys drop in and share your thoughts. Do you think FSG is selling up, hence no incomings? No, I don't. I can't justify the no incomings, Regan. I mean, there's no defence of that for me. But I don't think they're selling up now. As they say themselves, they're in expansion mode. They don't really have a plan to sell. I guess every club would have a number, but I don't think this is lack of transfer business is because they're selling up. Sorry, I'm still a little bit thrown by that email I spoke to you guys about earlier on. I've been dwelling on that all day because it really has gotten to me. Basically, the email consisted of me being told, I'm paraphrasing here, that I don't understand the business model of the club. I don't understand how running a football club works. I don't understand the greatness of the owners. And basically, just stick to your lane, Tico. Which I find astoundingly arrogant to say that to somebody, but yeah, really disappointing day for me on that front. Somebody who has been I won't say a hero of mine, but somebody who I think and thought very highly of. Yeah, it was a nasty day for me on that front. How good does it feel to have Arne Slot's Tricky Reds back on the telly? Can't wait for the Liverpool show. Will be there. Lots of love, Craigo, said Nomad. I can't wait for it as well. No nerves, just excitement, mate, about the Liverpool show. Especially because I know the lineup that we're bringing with us, you know. Mr. Paddy Doyle going to be there playing all your favourite Liverpool songs and, of course, some modern songs as well. Carl Porter doing his comedy, and then whatever it is me and Connor do, we'll be there as well. Danielson, always lovely to hear from you as well, my friend, and thank you for your super chat. Kwanzaa is great but young with a boy's body. Kanade had better frame for aggressive Ipswich. He shouldn't take hard feelings except for full gym sessions. Very balanced, and I agree with you. You know, Kwanzaa's future is not in doubt whatsoever. You know, he's a very good quality young man, but he's still growing in, and it was a very physical game today. Delap was winning a lot of aerial duels, and I certainly believe that Arne Slot would have explained to Jarell Kwanzaa what he'd like him to do better, and it will happen. So I agree with you, mate. No harm in that. Probably expect Ibu as well for the Brentford game. They're probably going to come in to be quite physical. You would imagine he'd stick with Ibrahim Kanade for that one as well. Steve, and by the way, Steve, thank you sincerely for your email earlier on, mate. I know I replied to you and whatnot, but as I said to you in the email, mate, meant a lot. It really did. Keep being yourself. We love that guy. Thank you. Look, I can only be myself, Steve, because that's who I am, but felt like a cheap shot today from someone that I respected, I should say, that those days are over. Who sent the email? It doesn't matter who sent the email because I instigated the conversation. So it's not like somebody just randomly emailed me out of the blue. I asked somebody for advice, somebody who I've spoken to many times via email, and asked them for a little bit of advice. And what I got back was not advice, but more a lecture on why the club are right to keep avoiding us and stay away from us. Talking about appealing to the masses and kind of basically saying lowest common denominator type of stuff. Do you want to be successful or do you want to be respected? And that's the part that really pisses me off. Because being respected and being successful, they're not mutually exclusive things. It depends who you want to respect you. So I would argue I have a lot of respect from people who I respect as well. And I would argue that success is in the eye of the beholder. But I don't like being spoken down to like I'm some thicko by anybody. Let alone somebody that I held in such high regard. But it is what it is. We move on, as they say. What was this club are scared of this channel facts? Look, here's my take on the whole club ignoring situation. If you are concerned or have an issue with somebody, in my growing up, the way I was brought up as a person, you broach the conversation. You try to empathise, hear and listen to somebody else's point of view. Battening down the hatches and saying nothing, I don't think it's healthy. Everybody should be answerable to people, or at least everybody should be open to what are sincere concerns. But I don't really... I don't care about what the owners think anymore, because I care about what you think. And that's the most important thing to me, what you guys think. And I'll do what I've continued to do, which is prove people wrong and do it my way. So fuck them. Right. Regan. I'm a United fan, but Irish, so gotta respect the go. Well, I appreciate your support, man. Really do. Even as a United fan, it's very kind of you to come in and say that. So, again, I do apologise about my little bit of self-indulgence this evening. It's just been... you know when... I've never met a hero and haven't been impressed, right? So I've never met somebody who I've always looked up to and never been let down before. I've kind of been really fortunate that the people I've always admired have always been good people when I've had a chance to interact or meet them. So when today somebody who I admire so much acted like an absolute arsehole towards me for no reason. I'm still processing it, you know. It's saddening. And the club's owners, I don't give a shit who thinks they're clever, who thinks I don't understand the system, who thinks I don't understand how a football club are run. The same people that are preaching to us about not understanding the system, the finances, how a club is run. I'd love to ask these same geniuses how not having a contract extension for a 25-year-old local lad who's your vice captain and allowing him to go into the last year of his contract is clever. I'd love to know how not spending in a transfer window is somehow going to bring us forward. I'd love to know how these people that bow down to the altar of Liverpool's owners and tell the rest of us that we don't understand. I'd love to know how they justify and box off that love and admiration for their demigods and remember that they tried to sell us down the fucking river to join a Super League without any consultation of anyone. But yet these people think that the owners are remarkable human beings. It absolutely 100%, David, is not an ex-player. It's not an ex-player. I promise you that, mate. It isn't. Yeah, imagine like these people who profess to be Liverpool fans and tell the rest of us we don't understand the club, the ethos, the morals, supporting owners that wanted to just basically throw you all under a bus and join a Super League without any consultation, prior warning or anything, just 2 fingers up. And yet I think that these people are geniuses and we should all be grateful to them. It's not James Pearce. It is James Pearce wouldn't impact me in this way. I do love James Pearce as a guy though. He's a really nice fella. You can guess all you want. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but you know, it's just unfortunate. But it is gotta just keep being me. Anywho, let's talk Lucho for a minute, because Spanish outlet Nacional, who are very Barca-centric, shall we say, they've announced that Barcelona president Juan Laporta and sporting director Deco will do everything possible to seal the signature of Luis Diaz. They go on to say that he is an option, and has also convinced manager Hansi Flick. They go on to say that it's not a simple operation. Liverpool will want about 70 million euro, and they go to say that Barca are trying to get to that number to sign Lucho. That would really concern me, because if Barca even got it wrapped up in 3 days, which of course they won't, but if they did, and Liverpool were willing to sell, which I hope they're not, and Arne Slot said he wants Lucho to stay, we've no time. You can't keep offloading players in this window and not do anything to replenish the squad. I get it, today's full of positive vibes, and it should be. We won, we're off to a good start, but it's a long, grueling campaign ahead. And like I've said, some of these guys have had really long seasons prior to this, long international summers, going to do lots of jetting around in September, October, November in the international breaks, and are going to pick up injuries as the season goes on. So it's got to be about incomings now rather than looking towards more outgoings. Please, Barcelona, take that useless clown. Okay, well, you can fuck off. Imagine calling somebody who plays for your football club, who played through the time his father was kidnapped and his mother was kidnapped, showed up and showed unbelievable courage and bravery to go out on the pitch and play. Imagine calling that guy a clown and still professing to support Liverpool. That's... You know, we can talk about frustrations of finishing or final balls or a few other bits and pieces with Lucho. He isn't the finished product. But to call him a clown and say, get this clown out of our club, that's just Stupidity. Any updates on Mamuradashvili, said Chemo. It's looking quite positive. I mean, yes, there is an update here. I'll read it out to you in a second. Remember now, he is playing tonight for Valencia against Barca. Excuse me. So, Spanish outlet El Paz report that Liverpool are nearing an agreement for the Valencia goalkeeper. We know that there's probably about €5 million at this point in the difference of valuations. This one can drag on to the end of the window, no problem, because it isn't something that is going to impact us right now. It's good succession planning, good look into the future, and about 35-40 million euro, so about £30 million. I think in the long term will end up being very clever business. But we can't be distracted by that now, because we've got other fish to fry. A centre-back, maybe a forward if we lose one, or maybe a forward anyway, and certainly reevaluate the midfield situation after Zubimendi deciding not to move. And by the way, before anybody wants to have a pop at me about the Zubi who TikTok, it was just a bit of a laugh earlier on, so don't take it too seriously. Gary, how are you, mate? Gary said, the way the club act with transfers is criminal. Too many go on frees, too cheap to pay high transfer fees, and poor in renewing contracts. Big love to you, man. Thank you, Gary. So I don't usually praise the Echo too much. Occasionally, I'll give them their credit when they do something that I think is top notch. And they did an interview. It's available on the Blood Red podcast. I would certainly say have a listen to it. Speaking with Dr. Ian Graham, who used to obviously work at Liverpool. It's very interesting. Certainly if you're interested in how the money works with regards to what they deem to be good value for money and what they deem to be not so good value for money. So 65% of a club's turnover, according to Dr. Ian Graham, if my memory is correct, is roughly what's spent on player wages. And the rest, I think 35%, he said, maybe on transfers. And he said transfers can be a very inefficient method of spending money at a football club. Increasing players' wages who are performing well, he views as money well spent. I can understand that completely. You definitely do want to reward players. And I definitely am unqualified to question somebody of the intelligence of Dr. Ian Graham. I thought it was a very interesting listen to. So if you have a chance, maybe you want to listen to what he had to say about his time at the club, working under the owners. Certainly always good to get a rounded view on these things. Grafenberg was very good second half today, but we desperately need a specialist CDM now, said Mark Bell. FSGO, Craig, with you on this, man. I'm tired of these owners, useless. So, sometimes with these type of things, right, it's good to look for clues. So, let's look to what else FSG own and see, are the fans of the Red Sox happy campers? Now, obviously I'm no Bostonian, but I do have friends who live in Boston. And I've yet to meet somebody who has a lot of good things to say about FSG's ownership from Boston. And my argument has always been, for us as Liverpool fans, who are emotionally invested into the team and the results, and of course are overly sensitive to transfer activity. We're fans. We are. We want new shiny things. Let's be honest about that. We do. Sometimes there is an argument to be made for not strengthening. But this window is not that time. You have a new coach in. We have deficiencies from last season. It's very clear to most people and has been acknowledged right across the media that Liverpool need to do business in 2 or 3 areas. So there is no belittling of the rest of us in my mind right now. These owners are cheap. And they're absent owners. And to some people, maybe that isn't important. But to me, it is important. Because if they don't want to keep the Boston Red Sox, their hometown team, competitive and challenging, what hope have we got? There's no emotional attachment to Liverpool for these guys. So my argument has always been, as they continue our expansion mode, adding more football clubs and adding other things, their attention span to Liverpool will be diluted. Now, they will put good people in, as they always have done, in fairness to them, to do their work. But this summer, I remember doing a stream about... it was after we came back from Liverpool, I think. So let's call it 10 days ago. And I said, last summer's mistake, and when we shit the bed with Caicedo and Lavia, wouldn't be repeated under Edwards and Hughes. I had every faith that we would get Zubimendi over the line, but we didn't. So there has to be accountability. The club have been embarrassed again. And I'm going to read you out something that comes from an English newspaper. I think it's the Daily Mail, if my memory's correct. And they've put up a piece to say, Liverpool have been brutally mocked by the Spanish press after Martin Zubimendi became the latest player to snub the Premier League side. Now, this isn't a Liverpool fan or a podcast or a writer. This is the Spanish media laughing at Liverpool and English press reporting it. Now, in what planet or on what planet is that good for the club? Even if you want to block out outside noise, it's not great when you've got clubs mocking you because another player has chosen to go to Spain or stay in Spain rather than come over to Liverpool. That, to me, pisses me off. But, again, the owners, I'm not sure how they feel about it, but definitely doesn't look great. Let's have a look at the poll, by the way. So we asked you, do you think Joe leaves this month? We've had 1,600 votes so far, and we are at 68% who think yes, Joe Gomez leaves. If I'm being really honest with you, I'm kind of on the fence on this one. I don't know what to expect. I certainly don't have any information that you guys don't have on it. I'm truly on the fence. But again, like I said at the start of the stream, I'm open to anything as long as there's a replacement lined up if he does move on. Adam Brown said, Craig, I was really impressed today in the second half. Was a bit surprised Slot didn't take Lucho off for Cody. Also, why was Harvey and Nunez not used? So, again, I have to just guess at some of these answers, mate, because I can't tell you why Nunez and Harvey weren't brought on. But what I can say is, he explained the half-time substitution for Kwanzaa. One, I'm relieved that it wasn't an injury. That's good news. And the other substitutions, I think the fullback ones were very intelligent, saving their legs for the remainder of the campaign. Taking off Jota, bringing on Gakpo. I mean, at least Gakpo got involved in the game. Why didn't he take Lucho off? I don't know. But we scored 2 goals and kept a clean sheet, so I'm relatively happy with how we got on today. And look, I always love to see Harvey Elliott on the pitch, you know that. I think Darwin has to prove himself to Arne Slot at the moment. Remember, he would have had virtually no pre-season with Arne compared to a lot of the other guys. So, he's playing catch-up. Then you've got to take into account that Diogo is, well, he's scoring, isn't he? So, what I was very impressed with today with Diogo was he missed an opportunity, a sitter, let's be honest, about a minute before he scored and didn't let it get in his head. When the chance came the second time, a minute later, boom, back of the net with a great assist from Mo as well. Sylvie Ray said they can mock all they want. Players that turn Liverpool down don't have a good track record. And I agree, but it's not a good look, is it? When you see the Spanish media mocking the Premier League and Liverpool in particular. If you're an owner who's worried about the PR and the brand value of your club, you know, it's not a great look. So what's the INACIO news? So the INACIO news is pretty much this. he looks like, and I have to say, I have no inside information whatsoever on the centre-back situation, none. But it looks like he's the most likely, based off what we're seeing, to come in if indeed we do bring in a centre-back. Now, there are other positions that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but his agent also represents Bruno Fernandes, and he was in the UK to sort out Fernandes' contract extension at Old Trafford, which of course was done, and there's been some chatter that there was conversations had then over INACIO to Liverpool. I don't know if it's true or false, but it would make sense. He's a player we've been linked with in the past. He's a player that can play left side centre back, left side left back, can play in the back three. That's all I know as of right now. We do know as well that his release clause is, I think, 60 million euro, but the reports in the Ebola and O Jogo, who are two Portuguese newspapers over the past few days, have suggested that £38 million, or about 43 million euro, might get the deal done. Am I aware of Kieran Morrison? I am not, my friend. No, I am not. Alex Macklin said INACIO will be a good signing. What about Diamonde? So it was interesting when I spoke with David Lynch. I don't know if it was the last time we spoke or the time before, and I don't know if it was on or off camera either, to be honest, but Diamonde was a name that definitely did come up. Maybe it was on stage at Liverpool, actually. Diamonde was a name that came up and was somebody who apparently was looked at by Liverpool, has a good aerial success rate. Obviously, again, part of that Sporting defence. He plays on the right side of the back three. INACIO on the left, and then Sebastian Coates last season anyway was playing centrally. But that's all I know. Certainly he was looked at, but I don't know anything past that. Mark Gay, obviously Crystal Palace have turned down a £65 million offer from Newcastle for him, which is a big offer. So yeah, centre-back's an interesting one, and it makes it a little bit more concerning, of course, when you've got the rumours around Joe Gomez. Do you think we will try for Ederson? I don't, unfortunately. The reason that I don't is Juventus, I don't know if this deal has progressed any further, by the way, but Juventus have made a very considerable offer for Toyin Koopmeiners, according to, I think it was Fabrizio Romano the other day, and they don't even want to sell him, but they do need to fund, I guess, another bid for Matt O'Reilly. So I can't see them stripping both of their midfielders out and bringing in just one. So unfortunately, if Koopmeiners is about to leave Atalanta, I very much doubt that they're going to be willing to sell Ederson. Thoughts on City getting relegated next season? Well, we can but hope. Apparently that hearing is due to start in September. Initially we thought November, but it was reported recently September. Let's see what happens there. There was something actually in my notes I didn't actually post in. 1 second. Let me just post something into my notes so I can read it. I thought I did post this in. Sorry, folks. Where is he gone? Huh. We're not taking that post. Where was that one? Is it this guy? Yeah, so apparently Liverpool are being linked with a move for Rouen left back, Adrien Truffert. I know nothing about him. L'Equipe and Get French Football News have reported that Liverpool were interested. So again, you can see some more talk in the media about left backs. Aït-Nouri, of course, is another one that we know Liverpool have kept an eye on. Can play in a few positions, Aït-Nouri on the left. I mean, it would have to be a sale before we bring in a left back, I would imagine. You know, we don't have space in the squad for three. You've got Costas, you've got Robbo. At the moment, we have Joe, who of course can play there as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I'm trying to stay optimistic and positive for the remainder of the transfer window, but it is getting harder as each day chugs along. yeah, it is getting harder and harder to keep having any belief or faith that we're going to do business. You know, you can't say never until the window closes, but we're now, what, 68, 69 days into the window? If we use Gravenberch as a sick, we do lose out on some of his abilities on the ball driving forward. So, I've no problem with Gravenberch being an option in there, but we need more, right? Because Gravenberch can't play every game. McAllister can't play every game. I'm going to be honest and say that Curtis Jones still doesn't convince me. Bajcetic may go out on loan. Bobby Clark is gone, or going. I still think we're short there. He doesn't like the look of Wataru Endo. You know, I did say this to everybody weeks ago, that Wataru was basically told he's not going to be forced out, but it's up to him if he wants to stay and fight for his place, but his options and opportunities, unless there's injuries, will be limited, because Arne Slot certainly doesn't look like he feels he's the style of player for the system he wants to play. And Tyler Morton, again, I don't think Tyler Morton is... Okay, if we're saying Liverpool can't find somebody on the planet other than Zubimendi, I find it very hard to believe or swallow that Tyler Morton is going to be that guy. If they truly believed Tyler Morton was going to be that guy, they wouldn't have gone looking for Zubimendi. So I don't buy into some of this. The squad was being assessed. We all were patient. The assessment's done, but still no business. And that, my friends, is worrying. Azur, lovely commented, "Hi Craig, you're by far my favourite football channel, even though I don't support Liverpool. Love from a Malmo fan." Awesome, my man, thank you. Really appreciate you dropping in with a kind word. Malmo, nice. Never been to Sweden. Craig, is the Gordon deal totally dead? No, I don't think you can say it's dead until the window shuts. And even then, even if Gordon signs a new deal with Newcastle, I wouldn't rule out him joining Liverpool in the near future. But it would probably take the likes of a Diaz to go. And if Diaz did go, I mean, you're not giving Newcastle much chance to replace Gordon in the window. So, again, as every day goes by, more and more unlikely in this window. You know, unless Newcastle come in again heavy for Gomez, let's say, and Liverpool try to force the issue. But, again, I don't know anything anymore. You know what, I'm being honest. Zubimendi, I gave you my take from the Spanish side and the journalists I heard from over there. I've always been honest and said I don't know anything about the centre-back search. I've got no idea of other alternatives up top other than our well-documented interest in Anthony Gordon. I don't know anything other than that. I'm like everybody else, just kind of patiently waiting. Now, if I could ask a little favour, if you haven't, please do drop a like on the stream. We've had this really, really cool run of every live stream hitting at least 1,000 likes. We've got 454 at the minute, but there's 2,500 people watching. So if you can, please do drop a like on the stream. And of course, we'd love you to subscribe if you haven't done that either. Right, more of your comments. Thriller X said Arne Slot is not here to play friendly. If you don't fit, you're out. And I like that. I like a bit of a ruthless streak. I think you have to have that in any walk of life at the very top level. You have to have, of course, you have to be amenable. You have to be approachable to your players and they have to buy into what you're doing. But nothing wrong with having a cold, ruthless streak as well. I certainly like those attributes in a coach. I'm trying to get through as many of your comments as I can. Many Swedes are supporting Ukraine. Big up. Thank you, Jonas. Again, embarrassed to say I've never been to Sweden, my man. Never been to Sweden. I've never been to any of the Scandinavian area countries, but like anything else, I love travelling, so I'd love to get there at some point. Where's Tanya's comment that someone says interesting? I'm trying to figure it out here. Where's it gone? Where's your comment, Tanya? Where is it? Nope, can't see it. I must be going blind or something, lads. Glenn from Norway, how are you, my man? Welcome in. Thank you for being with us. Regan said, De Jong is possible because you've just made money. You were going to pay 50 mil for Zubimendi. The big problem, Regan, about Frenkie De Jong is, of course, the wages, you know. A little Google search shows up that he's on about €725,000 per week at Barca. Now, it's going to take a huge hit to that wage to go to Liverpool. I've seen you guys actually back to the table for De Jong as well. There's been some reports that you're okay. So Tanya said De Jong because it's possible perhaps with the right recruitment. I just don't see how Liverpool can get around that big stumbling block of the money he's on. You know, unless there was an agreement with Barcelona to pay up a chunk of that or whatever. As a player, and I said this all the way through when he was linked with Manchester United as well, he's a really good player. His injury record may be a little bit concerning, but a very, very good player. It'd be a lovely, pleasant surprise. I just would be very, very surprised. Were those salaries not paybacks from previous seasons? They may or may not have been, but either way, he still owed the money, if you get me. Like, if somebody owed me 10 grand and they were spreading it over the course of 3 years and 5 grand came in the last year, I'd still want the whole 10 grand, you know, by the end of the last year. So I would imagine he'll want that money one way or the other. And to be fair, he's entitled to it, you know. He signed onto a contract. Pranav, how are you, my friend? Craig, 9 subs are allowed. Yes, we need to upgrade Endo with another DM. Other than that, I don't see Gomez making the squad ahead of anybody else. Do you know what? I'm going to go back and have a look, Pranav, while we're speaking, bro, with today's matchday squad. 1 second. Best way, I guess, to assess the squad is to have a look at who was and wasn't in it today. So let me just go back through, grab my notes here. All right, here's the bench. So on the bench today, we had Watoro, Ibu, Darwin, Curtis Jones, Cody, Harvey, Costas, Kelleher, Bradley. I mean, it's a fair point you've made. Yeah, it's a very fair point. Like, and that's before we even discuss Sepp van den Berg as well, Pranav. It's not like we had 2 goalkeepers on the bench or anything. That is, yeah. And Trey Leone travelled with the team today, but obviously didn't get into the matchday squad. So, as always, mate, you always come in with a very well thought out comments that I always greatly appreciate. So, yeah, fair point. But we do have some overseas spots left in the squad as well, which I think could be important here. I think we've got 2 or 3 of them freed up. So, I'm going to end this poll now on Joe Gomez. Do you think Joe leaves this month? 67% of you guys have said yes. We do believe that Joe Gomez leaves Liverpool this month. Morganski said probably gets in over Chimicus. Well, for his versatility, perhaps, yes. You know, with Joe Gomez on the bench, you've got cover for 3 positions. So, yeah, maybe you can say put him in there over Costas. But what Costas, I guess, would give you is a kind of an extra auxiliary left wing back if you needed to attack. Gomez probably doesn't have that same level of attacking expertise as Costas would have, but would be a far better defender. Mark said, got in late, is Joe going to Newcastle? Truth is, mate, Newcastle interested, Villa interested. At this moment in time, as I sit here talking to you right now, I don't know what happens. This comment, though, from Paul Joyce, I find very interesting, that said, Joe's omission is the result of what have been described as grown-up discussions between the player and Liverpool, who are not forcing the 27-year-old out. So you're Joe Gomez, you're 27 years of age, you've just gone to the Euros with England, probably feel like if you had more game time in the Prem, you may have forced your way in there a bit more. And if he's been told he's not likely to get many starts or opportunities at Liverpool, and the fact that we were willing to sell him earlier on, to be fair to Joe, you know, I understand why he might want to kick on and play football. Football careers are short. Joe's been a great servant to the football club. He's been with us now, I think, 9 years. And the club, from what I've understood, and again speaking with David Lynch, the club have always said that they want to be fair with Joe, to reward Joe for his tremendous service. So if Joe does want to move on and it's feasible, you know, the club are certainly not going to make it extremely difficult for Joe. But you can interpret grown-up discussions in whatever way you think it works for you. But the fact that he wasn't in that matchday squad today, nor was Sepp van den Berg, is certainly something to give a moment's pause for thought anyway. Taco the Red said, glad Slot rotated main players. I think it was brilliant. Like, I don't know if it was down to Arne Slot or if it was Ruben Peters. So I said this during the watch along today. Ruben Peters is the guy that Arne Slot puts tremendous faith and belief in when he says no more pushing players past this point, don't train for longer than this, don't let this guy play more minutes than this today. Arne Slot listens to him, and I think that's based off respect, and of course the fact that they had over a 90% availability rate at Feyenoord, I think, last season, which is quite a lot. And bringing the two boys off at 70 minutes today might not seem too much now, but that's 20 minutes less in the legs after a very long summer for them with regards to international competitions, short turnaround, limited pre-season. So I think it was brilliant that he made those two changes and brought Costas and Conor Bradley on and allowed Robbo and Trent to get a rest. Give us the news on Mamardashvili. Has he signed? Well, he hasn't signed yet. No, he's in goal tonight, playing for Valencia against Barcelona. But again, the chatter is still that deal is entirely possible. I think there's a 5 million difference in valuation from what I'm reading, from the 40 million euro that Valencia want for him versus the 30 plus 5 million in add-ons that Liverpool are apparently willing to pay. On top of that, he has to sort out an agreement where he goes from Valencia on loan to Bournemouth. Liverpool would then have a cast iron guarantee that they would buy him at the end of next season, and then he will come into the fold at Liverpool. The reason why we couldn't buy him now and loan him straight out to Bournemouth is because he's you can't bring in one player in one transfer window and loan him immediately out to a club in the same league. So why he couldn't stay at Valencia on loan for the season, I guess, is probably because Richard Hughes and the club would like him to get some experience of English football. Pop or rap? Rap. I've said this to you guys before. When I was back in my days when I was a DJ, I promoted one of the first hip hop and rap nights in Dublin. Big fan of rap music. Somebody said to me yesterday that they were surprised at my understanding of popular culture for my Kendrick Lamar bits and pieces that I was talking about. But yeah, that's... Look, I've got an eclectic musical taste. I love loads of different types of music, but I do love me some rap, hip hop, and even R&B back to the 60s, 70s. It's I was brought up with a really good mix of music in my house. Trent wants Madrid though. I don't know, Regan. It's gonna be tempting, right, mate? It has to be. You know, it's Real Madrid, so we can all sit here and do the old ostrich impression and bury our heads in the sand, but ultimately it's got to be flattering. And Madrid will certainly be saying to him, well, it's a now or never thing. Sit tight, run down your deal, sign a pre-contract with us in January, and then you can come for free. But from Liverpool's perspective, obviously, we don't want that to happen. We want Trent to be given a new deal. What I can never and have never been able to comprehend is how we even allowed this to happen. How do we get to the point where you don't have Trent, who's just coming into his prime, tied into a deal? It's madness. Which, apparently I'm too thick to understand how football clubs work, so somebody explain to me how that makes sense, because I really don't get it. So Mark's given me some stats on Mamardashvili's game. He's made 2 saves, had 23 touches of the ball. He had 11 of 19 pass accuracy and long ball pass accuracy, but he did concede a Lewandowski goal. So thank you, Mark, for that. Jota is playing deep but still scored and should have had a second. Well, he should have scored a minute before he did score. He missed the sitter of a header. The one that really confused me today, though, was how did Lucho not score? Madness, like. And also, I know I'm known for moaning about referees, by the way, but how was there not a second yellow card given to the Ipswich player for that very deliberate handball on the ground? If the ref sees it, which he does, because he gives the free, how on earth is that not a second yellow? No, I don't want Ipswich weakened, I'm not trying to be a shithouse or anything, but I don't know. I don't understand how that was not, at the very least, a yellow card, which should have led to a red. And there was one other incident where, there was 2 incidents where either Ipswich should have had a free kick or Liverpool should have had a free kick for handball, and the ref gave neither. Hurricane, thank you. Appreciate it. I was thinking the same thing as it happened. It's mad, right? Insanity. Now, I understand that many people will feel there was nothing in the potential penalty shout for the missed Lucho chance. But then you go and see the penalty that was given when West Ham played Villa and Matty Cash made a bit of a clumsy challenge. That was a penalty, but when Lucho was clattered into by the keeper, nothing. We're already seeing so many bullshit decisions. I don't know what else to say. Right across the league in the first weekend. So we've got Old Trafford, where the ball boys are told in the Premier League they cannot give the ball directly to players anymore. You'll notice there's these little cones all around the pitch. Ball boys and ball girls have to put the balls on them cones and allow the players to get them themselves. At Old Trafford, when it was 0-0, ball goes out for a goal kick. Ball boy immediately throws and rolls the ball into the Fulham keeper. Nothing done about it. Earlier on in the game, Fulham are on the attack. Maguire comes across, makes a challenge, slides out off the edge of the pitch, sees Fulham are looking to get on with it quickly, and knocks the ball off the cone down the side of the pitch. Nothing done about that either. If you're going to bring in these stupid rules, at least enforce them. My wife wants to know if that's a yellow dog in the background. No, it's a Lambanana. So, or Lambana. So it's famous in Liverpool. Google it. There's a few of them have been around the city. And that one in particular, I believe, is outside the Liverpool Museum. And Connor, whenever we go to Liverpool, buys these little figurines of the Lambana or Lambanana. And we just put it in as, I guess, a nod to Liverpool. For Lucho, it was 100% the penalty, said Gary. But because Lucho was so inconsistent, I looked over it. Jota's miss, I forgave immediately because the guy will score most of the time. Well, look, he did a minute later, mate. You're right. Next chance came Jota's way, buries it. And also, great assist from Mo. Mo timed his run perfectly to stay on side, and then the way the ball into Jota was perfect as well. So we are at 701 likes. So we're only 299 away from 1,000. So do hit that like button if you're new in. Also, just a reminder, our show tickets are now on sale for the Liverpool show. It's an all-ages event. You can get your tickets with the link pinned to the top of the chat and in the description, or just go onto the Hot Water Comedy Club website and have a look on there, and you will see the tickets are already on sale. The Super Lambanana, that's the one. That's the one. I didn't actually know about them until Connor informed me about the Super Lambanana. But there you go. It's just one of those cool, little, interesting things in Liverpool. I think Szoboszlai is back to his best, Craig. Love watching him play and wouldn't think he was 22, 23. I think he's going to excel under Arne Slot, and the role Slot will have him playing in. Definitely looks more comfortable. And yes, I agree with you. Very good today. I think I gave him an 8 in my player ratings, if my memory's right. Can you buy it in Ticketmaster? No. You can only buy direct from the venue. And you should be grateful for that, because we all know Ticketmaster's fees these days for tickets. So no, that link is the only one. The Hot Water Comedy Club sell all their own tickets for their own shows. And yeah, you can buy them on there, mate, with that link. Why Elmo in the background? Okay, I'm going to show you a picture and explain that, because there's no way I can explain it without showing you this picture. So one, my wife has ladywood for Elmo in a weird kind of way. Not in a sexual way, actually, that's wrong. She loves Elmo. My wife has an Elmo hot water bottle that's been around longer than me, and we've been together 24 years. But the reason Elmo's there really is, I'll explain in a second. I need to just put the picture up and then I'll explain it to you. Right, where are we? Where is it? Where are you, Elmo? Just looking for a particular picture, folks. Bear with me. Right, here we go. So, I'm going to have to make this smaller, so bear with me. So, see there. We went to Busch Gardens when my son Lucas was a toddler, as you can see. And we wanted to get a picture with him and Elmo. And he was overloaded with sensory issues, so had his hands on his ears like that. Kind of lots of sounds and noises, and with his autism, it was a bit overstimulated. And Elmo did the very same thing to make him feel better. So Elmo, to me, is a rock star, because he made my son feel like £1,000,000. And I'll never forget that tiny little moment. So, yeah. Elmo can do no wrong in our family's eyes. So that's why Elmo's in the background. That, and my wife has an Elmo tattoo on her shoulder because she loves Elmo. So yeah, Elmo's class. We love Elmo. Yeah, it was in Busch Gardens at the Sesame Street part in Busch Gardens in Florida. Craig, there is now a super Klopp Lambanana in Liverpool, complete with white teeth. Oh, Paul, you can't be telling Connor that. He'll want one immediately. Can Elmo play CDM? I would imagine so. He's Elmo. He can play everywhere. $125 smaller ones got placed around the city. Yeah, I was reading up on the Super Lambanana a few weeks ago. It's just a cool little thing, isn't it? So Mark's just telling me, when Liverpool had the capital city, the European capital of culture in 2008, it was an artistic thing that was done in the city, and again, it's just a little cool thing. Steve said, much love, Craig. Know the feeling, exactly the same with my son with his autism. It's the little things that mean the most. 100%. Yeah, Elmo was amazing, and that little moment made my entire holiday. It's simple little things like that, as you said. My school painted a Lambanana to join in. Every area had one. Nice, nice. Right, let me get this comment up from Harry. Thank you for your super chat, Harry. Does anyone know why we can't sell Ticketmaster tickets? I'm trying to sell my tickets for the script in Newcastle. No? I have transferred a few tickets over Ticketmaster to family and friends. Yeah, I don't know if there's something up with Ticketmaster at the minute, Harry, but you should go see the script. Script are amazing. Actually went to school in the same little town as Danny. Although he went to a different secondary school than me. It was, yeah, I'm so proud of any Irish achievements, you know, from the likes of the script or whatever, so, but I don't know, in answer to your question, mate. Good pressing in the second half, said David Massett. Thank you, mate. Much better second half than the first half. Much, much better. Do you think INACIO would be a good signing? I trust whoever the manager and the recruitment team choose to play at centre back, as long as they bring one in. You know, I have limited watch time for INACIO, so my view is going to be a very ill-informed one. But he's got to have something about him, right? If Liverpool have continued to be looking at him this long. He's part of a sporting team that won the La Liga title, or the Portuguese Primera Division, title. But yeah, I can't say I've watched hours and hours and hours of him. Al Gonzo, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, my friend. Appreciate your support, thank you. Elmo and Cookie Monster double pivot. Oh, there's a picture of me in a Cookie Monster outfit. You're not seeing that today, though. Another day. Another day. Alan Garcia, I mean, I don't disagree with you, sir. You said we cannot lose Gomez until a centre-back comes in. I agree. And normally I would say there isn't a world in which I think we do sell Gomez without a centre-back coming in, but I don't really have much belief in these owners, mate, with regards to the market. I know, again, I'm somebody who doesn't understand how a football club works with finances, but riddle me this. We've brought in, let's say, 28 million between the money that we had to give Fulham and the rest of the fee for Carvalho and the money from Solanke. We've saved 18.7 million a year in wages from Adrian, Thiago and Matip moving on. And we spent nothing. So, again, I'm no mathematician, I'm no football finance expert, but don't ever try to tell me there's no money available when we've just freed up a load of cash and we haven't even given contract extensions to Virgil, to Mohamed Salah or to Trent. You know, I don't think I have to have an in-depth understanding of football finances to know when we're being taken for a ride by the owners. So, yeah, they're cheap. Bonus money from the Champions League also. We won't receive that money yet. Obviously, that's going to be money that we'll have at the end of the campaign. But yes, we're back in the Champions League, so that money is coming in. They know that. Also, we've got new commercial sponsorship agreements with the likes of Lucasade, Husqvarna, which of course brought more money in. The Annie Road End is now fully open and operational with 61,000 in Anfield. The wage bill's been trimmed. We've not spent anything on transfers. I mean, I know people love to call us all ill-informed and all, but it's very difficult to sit back and listen to somebody tell you that the owners do everything they can financially and then juxtapose that with every other club's business and what they spend versus what us, one of the biggest clubs in world football, never seem to have, which is a pot to piss in. Amazon doc money. That was never sold, if my memory is correct. So, are we talking about the Jurgen Klopp documentary? The last I heard, nobody bought that. It was thought that Disney Plus may buy it. Unless something's changed, that's still sitting on a shelf somewhere as far as I'm aware. Right, we are only 215 likes now away from our 1,000 likes, so do hit that like button if you haven't. I don't understand why Scousers are okay with how FSG are ruling the club. Majority of them still backing FSG. So again, I can't say majority of them are, because I can only speak with the Scousers I interact with. And I can tell you that at our live show in Liverpool, everybody I spoke to was appreciative of the good stuff that the owners, of course, have done. Appreciative of the regeneration, the stands, the training ground, of course, bringing in Jurgen. But every single one of them, to a man, woman and child, were unhappy with Liverpool's performances in the transfer markets. So, I don't know how anybody can think that Liverpool are doing everything they can in the market. I think we're procrastinating too much. You know, Zubimendi as an example. We've had 3 years to figure out a number 6. And we shit the bed again. You can say the player changed his mind last minute, and that's cool. Players change their mind. Their heartstrings can be tugged on. They can change their mind and want to stay in the boyhood club. That's no problem. Having no plan B and throwing your hands up in the air and seemingly allowing another year to go by, that's where I have the problem. Going into a season with Jurgen at the time, where everybody was saying to Jurgen that we need a midfielder, and he was saying, no we don't, 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 until he said we do, and then we ended up with Arthur Melo. Again, not the sharpest tool in the book or the box, but how the fuck was that good business? 2 million loan fee for somebody that we already knew categorically we didn't want to sign permanently, because we told Juventus they can put the clause in the deal, but we're not going to buy him. So that was always going to be an absolute mess. His wages and 2 million loan fee went out the window for nothing because he got injured. Then when we needed centre-backs, and everybody was saying we need centre-backs, God, we need centre-backs, we had Ozan Kabak and Ben Davies, and only by the grace of Alisson Becker's head, we ended up back in the Champions League. So, how a squad that wasn't good enough to go all the way last year, which has lost players, is suddenly going to be good enough to go and do it this year, purely based off coaching improvements, while everybody else seems the need and feels the need to strengthen their squad. I don't understand how any rational-minded human being can think that us standing still is at the very least exactly that, standing still. You can talk about improvements in coaching, granted, but you still have to talk about injuries and the turnover of games and the international breaks and suspensions. We can't always hope and plan for, if everything goes right and nothing goes wrong, we should be okay. That has never worked. And finishing second in a lot of competitions, whilst it's great, it's not first. And these same people that tell us all about the glory days and how we dominated in the 70s and 80s are somehow now okay with being there or thereabouts. Winning doesn't seem to be important anymore. Why? If you finish second and third in the league, is it not common sense to say, let's go make 1 or 2 quality additions to close that gap? If you win the league and the Champions League, is it not common sense to say, strengthen from a position of strength? Most people would say probably. But these FSG apologists that love to look down their nose at the rest of us think their shit doesn't stink. I'll never understand it. David Massett said, I'm a Scouser, don't have faith in FSG. So I'm somebody who genuinely tries to be balanced in my assessment of the owners. And I give them credit and have given them credit for all the good things that they've done. Developments, bringing in Klopp, Edwards, Ward, all the good stuff. Training ground. They've got all the credit for that. But you don't get to brag all the time about how brilliant we are, how valuable we are, all these commercial partnerships, and always cry poor mouth. Always. If it wasn't like the wage bill was being used as an excuse for how many years? That Liverpool had a really high wage bill. Again, I'd love to see a breakdown of this wage bill, because I don't know what every player is on, nor should we, because they're private and confidential. But the wage bill that's so high, this is a sincere question, by the way. I hope somebody knows the answer. Does that cover all wages at the club? And by that I mean coaches, executives, tea lady, or does it just cover playing staff? Because if we've a really high wage bill, and as far as we're aware, our highest paid players on 350, and we've had another couple around the 150 to 200s, how the fuck is every other club able to pay a lot more? Some of them with less revenue. So again, I'm confused. Yeah, genuinely, I'd love to know how we could get a breakdown of what players' wages are. Not individually, because of course they have a right to privacy in their contracts, but I don't understand it. If our highest paid player is 350 and after that it's 200, 180, 150, and yet Saka is on 350 grand a week. De Gea was on 350 grand a week. Casemiro is on 300 or 400 grand a week. How is it every other club can do it and still sign players, but somehow we can't? Websites out there with player wage details. Yeah, but they're guessing. You know, think about this realistically, mate. They have to be private. You don't want anybody knowing your private information with regards to your salary, do you? I certainly don't. So, players are the same. And a lot of the time, for instance, we think of Mohamed Salah being on £350,000 a week. That's the headline number. When we talk about his wages, we hear. Now, contrast that with Rami Abbasissa in Harvard speaking about the fact that all in Mo basically makes £1 million a week. That's a long way from the 350 headline figure. So if that is the case, that with add-ons or bonuses or whatever, he's closer to the $1 million, okay, then the high wage bill starts to make a little bit more sense. If you have players that can possibly earn that much money in a week, okay, very understandable then. Hassan said, I'm not as worried after today. How do I say this? Always good to be optimistic, Hassan, after a win. Nothing has changed for me, nor would anything have changed if we didn't get the win today. I still feel that the deficiencies that are in the squad are still there, and over the course of a long grueling season will catch up with us if we don't add more quality in. We don't want another season of finishing third. I don't. You might as well admit that you don't want to win the league, or we'll be told we want to go out and win the league, but you know, actions and all that. Arsenal bringing in Calafiori to a defence that was already the best defence in the league. That's a signal of intent. That's a signal that they want to make the next jump and catch Man City. And also, this is just my opinion on Man City, but this season, I think they're gettable. Between the stuff going on with their 115 charges that has to be heard, the likes of Alvarez moving on, De Bruyne getting to the end of his career, Pep in his last season, all those negative headlines and pressure over the course of the season on City, I think is going to mean that they're not the same beast that they were in other seasons. And Arsenal are ready to jump all over that. I want to believe we are, but we haven't really shown that in the market. Taking into account it's his first season, I think third is acceptable. So, okay, how do I say this again? I'm trying to put the words together in my brain. I'm very tired, mate, after a long day. Sorry. I'm not saying third isn't acceptable. I'm not saying if Arne Slot finished third, I'm saying sack the man. What I'm saying is, I find it very difficult to believe that with one or two additions, we wouldn't be closer to winning it. You know, I think a centre-back and a midfielder, and we can realistically think about challenging for the title. So I'm not saying third isn't good enough. I understand that Arne Slot's in his first campaign, and an improvement on the 82 points we got last season is certainly stepping in the right direction. But what I don't want to happen is, let's say Arne finishes 5th or 6th. We have an injury or two. I don't want it to reflect badly on him because he wasn't given enough squad depth. If the man fails by his own decision making or succeeds by it, brilliant. But give him the tools to do his job. David said, haven't signed... Oh, we're up to 882 likes, by the way. Only 118 to go. Haven't signed a striker, even though that's the position they need to invest in most. Yes, I agree. That is a concern for Arsenal, but they still have time in the window. They may get one in. Eddie Nketiah could be moving out by the looks of it. If I was Arsenal, I would have been baiting down Newcastle's door to try and sign Isak. I think he'd be incredible for them. But yeah, you're right. That is certainly an area that they and their fans would think I'm being them then, saying we could probably strengthen there. Charlie said, I agree. We constantly reminisce of what could have been at the end of the season had we the same investment as other clubs. Exactly. Look at the spend and net spend over the last whatever amount of years you want to look at of these owners. Our biggest net spend was 90 million last season in a rebuild year. Manchester United, and I don't know their incomings, but Manchester United have spent 150 million when we've all been told that they're cutting costs at Old Trafford. Chelsea, well, we know about Chelsea's transfer spending. Villa have strengthened their squad even after losing Douglas Luiz. Spurs have brought in Dominic Solanke for 65 million, Archie Gray, and another transfer I think today. Everybody else has strengthened. And there's something to be said for continuity, of course there is. But every coach I've ever heard talk about transfers has always said, and Jurgen said the same, one or two new faces every season, freshen it up, increase competition. It's healthy. So why not? When pick a journalist, every single one of them wrote about Liverpool needing to address 3 areas in this window. Some of them were centre-back, midfield and forward. Some of them were centre-back, midfield and full-back. But every single one of them, to a man and woman, felt like we needed to make 3 signings. Now, we've made none. And we sold Carvalho. Bobby Clark's on the way out the door. And we're hearing about Joe Gomez maybe leaving and not being in matchday squads. Again, I fail to see how that's good news. What's the best website to buy Liverpool tickets from? Honestly, mate, I don't have a clue outside of the official channels for, I guess, hospitality packages. I wouldn't trust or send anybody to a secondary website or anything like that because I've heard too many horror stories about it. So I wish I could give you advice, but if you want to be guaranteed your ticket's going to be legit, maybe go to a travel agency or one of the club's official partners or buy a hospitality ticket. If you're looking for a face value cost price ticket, I'm sure like the 12th Man was a pub that we used to be able to get tickets in when we were over there. And I'm sure that there are people who can point you in the right direction. You know, I just don't want you losing your money, so I'm being cautious. We need 3 more at least. It's a long season, said Nick. Is StubHub International legit? StubHub is 100% an official ticket selling site. I think Matchroom use them a lot of the time. But I don't know on the football front, you know? I don't. Tom said Gomez is in London. He's moving defo. Is he? Like, is he in London? I mean, sorry. Well, Liverpool do have offices, as we know, in London. Maybe, I mean, if he's down in London looking at a move, I mean, it ain't going to be Newcastle or Villa, is it? Don't know. Again, the club, the line that was put out today was that he was left out whilst he ponders his future, and Liverpool aren't going to be pushing him out the door. Andrew Webb, thank you, mate. We're up to 935 likes, by the way, so nearly there. Quick question, by the way. Has anybody in the chat already got their tickets for the live show? Because I haven't got the system set up yet where I get updates on ticket sales. So anybody who's got tickets in the chat, let me know. And looking forward to seeing you on the night as well. Same as the last time. We'll be doing the show and then staying around afterwards for photos and chat, stuff like that. Right, Andrew Webb said, I'll be surprised if we finish top 4. I think this is why Klopp didn't see out this year, knowing FSG would not spend. We all have our own thought processes on why Jurgen left, ranging from taking the man at his word to he was exhausted to a bit of everything wearing and taking its toll on him, from the referees to the owners maybe. All I can say is the man said it was lack of energy. But again, it seems very convenient that when Jurgen moves away from the club, Edwards is willing to come back into the club. Now, I know that he's not technically working for the club, Edwards, and he always said, I think Dr. Ian Graham said that he always said he wasn't going to go back to another director of football role, and FSG then went and created this director of football or CEO of football, which tempted him back in. But again, after Klopp leaves as well. So was there a butting of heads there? I don't know, but you can see a possibility for it. Craig, have you listened to the recent Nas albums? No, I haven't. Honestly, my listening to Nas would have been like 90s. I haven't heard any of his new stuff, but always an incredible lyricist, and yeah, always loved Nas's music. But no, I'm going to be honest and say I haven't heard the new stuff. So, sorry, I asked you a question and then I didn't even answer. So people said, where is the live show? Here, Hot Water Comedy Club. Same one we did the last time. Same, but this time, the theatre we were supposed to be in, which holds about 250, that's the one we're doing this time. We were moved into the 590-seater theatre because the other one wasn't finished being built. So this time we're going to be in the 250-odd-seater one with hopefully a pretty much full house. And it's an all-ages event, so everybody's welcome to come along. And it's at the Hot Water Comedy Club. Tickets are pinned to the top of the chat and in the description, or you can just search Hot Water Comedy Club and have a look for their November listings. Right, let me get back in some of your comments. Some have speculated Chelsea. I mean, surely he doesn't go to Chelsea. And if he does go to Chelsea, I hope Liverpool are very much looking at Levi Colwill in the other direction. TOTT2KZ1 said he got 2 tickets. Love it. Looking forward to seeing you guys again. Where is the live show? I've just done that one. Do we need new owners? Tough question to answer, because I'm just a bit of extra transfer spending away from being able to stomach them. The Super League I'll never forgive. Never. Nothing's ever going to make me forgive that. But If they just made us competitive in the transfer market and actually gave the manager the tools to try to win, truly, I wouldn't be as outspoken as I am. It's only my genuine belief, whether rightly or wrongly, that they don't do as much as possible to win that pisses me off. What happens at the shows? So, for this one, we have a musician who's going to come and get you all bouncing with some Liverpool songs, some modern songs. Then we've got a comedian, Carl Porter, who's going to do a 20-minute live stand-up set. Then me and Connor take to the stage. Well, me, actually, for the first part. I just banter with the crowd for a while. We talk about Liverpool topics. A lot of audience participation, shouting back and forth. I act the fool for a while. Connor comes on. We do a Q&A. And then we do a meet and greet afterwards. It's just a couple of hours fun with a load of mates in a room, basically. And the last one was truly amazing for me in Liverpool. I loved every second of it. All these live shows I've done up to this point, I've been a bag of nerves. Dublin, Belfast, Cardiff, nervous. Liverpool, I arrived at the venue. First person I see was Dave Sharples when I got out of the van. Dave, big hug, handshake. And that way, all the way to the dressing room. Just lovely person after lovely person. And I was buzzing. I was so relaxed and confident going on stage. I was made to feel incredibly welcome. And it was beautiful. That's why I said no more shows. But after that show in Liverpool, we're like, nah, let's get back to Liverpool and do another one because I want to be better, bigger. Yeah. Just genuinely so proud of everyone that showed up and the kindness of them all. I'm planning to come to the show. Any advice on where I can stay that's not too expensive? So what we did was rented a house. It was called Poppy's Place. It's on booking.com. I think it cost us for 2 nights for the whole house like 230 quid, something like that, for a 3-bedroom house when we were over there. There's a hostel, and I know when you say hostel you think, but me and Connor stayed in this place. I think it was called Eat, Love, something, which was quite cheap and quite nice. This time, I can't even tell you the name of the hotel we're staying in. I just know it's near the Liver building. It's a Friday night, so it's always going to be somewhat expensive to get a hotel room in any major city on a weekend night, but there are definitely options in Liverpool to suit all budgets. So Jasmine said, would like to see your show in Germany. My stupid brain, Jasmine, read that as would like to see your show in German. And I thought, well, that's asking a lot of me, you know. Ich habe ein Kuli, or eine Kuli. I have a pen, is one of the few sentences I remember. What do you think of Belfast? Oh, and I love Belfast. I've said this on the channel before. If myself and my wife go away in Ireland for a weekend, it's up to Belfast. We love it up there. And again, just a great city to go out in. Do you think we get INACIO? Honestly, has a film or has some... I'm not trying to sit on the fence. I haven't got a clue. I hope so, but I haven't got a clue. Craig missed the super chat. Did I? I did indeed. Jack Dempsey's one, thank you. Never, by the way, feel bad about pulling me up on missing a super chat. I want to be told if I've missed one, because I respect people spending their hard-earned money and I want to make sure that they get read out. Jack said, Gomez to replace Gay at Palace or to Newcastle as an alternative for Gay makes me think we'll try for Gordon if the latter happens. All love, mate. I think that's a very possible scenario. I'd love it to happen. Although, well, there's no although. If we got an INACIO and we could do a deal with Gomez, Gordon, I'd take that very much so. We'd still need to figure out how we utilise 3 left wingers at the club, but certainly wouldn't be against it, mate. And yeah, look, I'd love anything at this point. I'd love anything to happen in the window. I'm from County Down. I think the only time I've been up to County Down was when I was in Newry on a few occasions, but I don't think I've been in Down other than that. What's your feeling on which in particular, John? I have to believe we make a signing, mate. I have to. Like, absolutely mental if we don't make a signing. So I have to believe we get at least one done. We need a right winger, not a left winger. Absolutely. But we could see, like Sadio Mane, somebody swap sides. You know, when Sadio came into the club, he was our right winger. Then he switched to the left side. I'm sure there's a world. And also, let's not forget, you know, we talked about this at the start of the stream, but Barcelona still want to sign Luis Diaz. And Nacional have said that Juan Laporta and their sporting director Deco will do everything possible to seal the signing of Luis Diaz before the transfer window shuts. So, you know, we'll see what happens there as well. Craig, if I meet you again at the live show, can we not kiss with tongues? No, tongue or nothing, Dave. Tongue or nothing, mate. I enjoyed kissing my bald head the last time, so now it's tongues this time or nothing, mate. No deal. Right, look, my voice is absolutely going, folks. It's been a long day, but a pleasurable one nonetheless. So I'm going to go grab me some food and relax for a bit. But tomorrow we will be back at normal time. We'll have a video coming out at about 5 o'clock. And then, of course, the late night agenda tomorrow night. I did record a match reaction podcast. That's out on all the podcast apps as well. So if you use Spotify, Acast, iTunes, whatever it is you get your podcasts on, search Anfield Agenda on there as well and let us know your thoughts. Thank you for dropping in. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. The Reds are off to a winning start under Ernest slot in the Premier League. It's Brentford up next weekend on the Super Sunday, so looking forward to that one. And thank you for joining me tonight. We just about got over the like, so do keep hitting that like button on your way out. And thank you to everyone that subscribed as well. Talk to you guys soon. Much love. Bye-bye.